Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss A to Z about the CFA course, like what is the eligibility criteria, what is the exam pattern, what is the cost involved. So watch the video till the very end to know things about the CFA course. What is CFA? CFA stands for Chartered Financial Analyst. It's a course provided by the CFA Institute, which is based out of USA, and CFA Institute is the only body in USA which is eligible to provide this qualification. So if you hear things like there is an Indian CFA also, then that is wrong. Indian CFA used to exist, but because the CFA Institute USA has the sole right to provide the CFA qualification, now Indian CFA no longer exists. There is only one CFA internationally, which is the US CFA. So starting off with the eligibility criteria, who is eligible to appear for the CFA exam? A candidate who is at least in the second year of graduation and has 23 months remaining until graduation can appear for the exam. So for example, there is an upcoming exam coming up in May 2024, but at the time of May 2024 exam, 24 months are yet remaining for the completion of my graduation, then I cannot give the exam. The criteria is that at max 23 months should be remaining for completion of graduation. Level 2 exams can be given before graduation, but the criteria is that at max 11 months should be remaining for the completion of graduation. So for example, there is an upcoming exam in August 2024 for level 2, and at that point of time 12 months are remaining for the completion of my graduation. Still I cannot give the level 2 exam because the criteria is that at max 11 months should be remaining for completion of graduation. So I repeat, for level 1 exam, at max 23 months should be remaining for completion of graduation, and for level 2, at max 11 months should be remaining for completion of graduation. Level 3 can only be given after completion of graduation. Or if you have not completed graduation but you possess 4,000 hours of work experience in the field of finance, then you are eligible to give the level 3 exam even if you have not completed the graduation. But the condition of work experience is a must if you want to give level 3 exam before completion of graduation, that is. Normal students who are not working, who are just pursuing the graduation, can give the level 3 exam only after completion of graduation. Now, talking about the eligibility criteria again, a passport is compulsory for registration. Yes, a passport is compulsory for registration. The reason being that is the common source of identity proof across the world. And CFA exam is conducted globally in 162 countries across the world, and it is administered by the CFA Institute USA. Now coming to the exam timelines. CFA level 1 exam is conducted 4 times in a year, starting from the month of February. February, May, August and November. These 4 months of the year. So the easier way to remember would be starting from February and at a gap of every 3 months thereafter. Level 2 exams are conducted thrice a year in the month of May, August and November. Level 3 exams are conducted twice a year in the month of Feb and August. Now, if I have to tell you a fact that until a few years ago, level 1 exam was only conducted twice a year in the month of June and December. Level 2 and level 3 exams were administered only once a year. Now, what does this tell you? This tells you about the increasing scope of the CFA exams and the CFA charter. Please ensure that the gap between any 2 exams has to be at least 6 months. So for example, if I am appearing for the level 1 exam in Feb 2024, I cannot be appearing for the level 2 exam in May 2024 because 6 months have not passed from the time I have given my level 1 exam. This criteria applies from level 1 to level 2 and from level 2 to level 3, that at least 6 months should be there between any 2 exams. Also note that this criteria applies for the same level. So for example, if I give the level 1 exam in Feb 2024 and I don't happen to clear the exam, the next attempt is May 2024, I won't be eligible to give that exam because 6 months have not passed from Feb. So the earliest attempt that I would be eligible to give for after Feb would be August. Now coming to the exam pattern. CFA exam has 10 subjects. The exam of all the 10 subjects is conducted on one day. Now there's nothing to be surprised about it because the exam is an MCQ based exam wherein students will be asked objective questions and you will have to answer those questions. So with proper guidance and coaching, it is very much manageable to give the exam of all 10 subjects on a single day. Now the exam is divided in two sessions, morning session and afternoon session. In level 1, the candidate has to attempt 90 questions per session. 90 questions in the morning session, 90 questions in the afternoon session. You will be given 2 hours and 15 minutes for each session and there would be a half an hour break in between the two sessions. Talking about level 2 also has the same 10 subjects as level 1, but the only difference is that level 2 will have 44 questions each session. Now, the reason for such a drastic fall in the number of questions from 90 in level 1 to 44 in level 2 is because level 2 questions are based on case studies wherein a candidate takes time to read the case studies and has to answer questions on the basis of case study. Again, the timing would remain the same, 2 hours and 15 minutes per session. Talking about level 3 also will have 44 questions per session and the exam would be conducted on a single day. So this is the same across all three levels, that the CFA exam will be conducted on a single day itself. Now, please ensure that level 3 exams are a mixture of subjective plus objective questions, which was not the case with level 1 and level 2 exams. Level 1 and level 2 exams purely were objective exams. Level 3 is a mixture of subjective and objective exam, wherein in the first session, a candidate would be tested on the subjective session. In the second session in level 3, the candidate would be tested on the objective type questions. 44 questions per session. Timings remain the same, 2 hours and 15 minutes per session with a half an hour break in between. So this was all about the exam pattern. Now talking about the results. Results are obtained within 60 days of giving the exam. For level 3, results are obtained within 90 days of giving the exam because level 3 is a subjective type exam. So it takes a little more time to check the papers, but for level 1 and 2, as I said, it will be obtained within 60 days of giving the exam. Now, what is the passing criteria? Now, in CFA exams, there is no passing criteria as such. The institute decides the passing criteria, which changes every attempt and the institute does not disclose it. So what is the best course of action? The best course of action would be for a candidate to go completely prepared for the exam such that we don't have to worry about the passing criteria at all. Now, talking about the cost involved. CFA registration is of two types, early bird registration and standard registration. First, let me explain what is the early bird registration. In an early bird registration, a candidate has to pay a one-time enrollment fee of $350 and an exam fees of $940. So total is $1,290. You add 18% GST to it or any tax that might be applicable to your country. In case of India, 18% GST is applicable. So $232 would be the GST. And the grand total shoots up to $1,522. Now, if you ask me in terms of Indian rupees, it would be approximately 1,27,000 Indian rupees considering the current exchange rate of 83. It might change in the future. Now, what is the difference between early bird registration and standard registration? In case of standard registration, the one-time enrollment fee remains the same, $350, but the exam fee shoots up from $940 to $1,250 and the total inclusive of GST shoots up to $1,888, which is approximately 1,50,000 Indian rupees considering the current exchange rate of 83. Now, needless to say that a candidate always should go for the early bird registration because the candidate would be saving on $310 approximately, which is close to 30,000 rupees. Who goes for a standard registration? The ones who have decided to pursue CFA late go for standard registration because by the time they decide to give the CFA exam, the early bird registration deadline already elapses. That is why they are forced to go for the standard registration. They have no other choice. Standard registration also has a particular due date, just as an early bird registration deadline has. So even if you miss the standard registration deadline, you cannot give that exam. You will have to register for the next possible exam of CFA level, any level. So just to give you an example, the registration deadline for May 2024 exam is 12th October. That is the early bird registration deadline. Even if you are one day late, that is you plan to register on 13th of October, you will have to pay 30,000 extra. Now, what is the deadline for standard registration for the May 2024 exam? The deadline is 6th February 2024. If you are late by even one day, if you plan to register on 7th February 2024, I am sorry, you cannot register for the May 2024 exam. Then the next exam, August 2024, is the exam that you will have to register for. So if you are planning to appear for the CFA Level 1 exam, it is always advisable that you register under the early bird window rather than paying 30,000 extra. Now, there are several questions associated with the registration. Let me clarify all those questions. Many students have this doubt whether scholarships are available or no. The answer is yes, scholarships are available. Now, if you apply for the scholarship, you will be getting a waiver of the enrollment fees. That is, if you get the scholarship, you will be getting a waiver of enrollment fees. You don't have to pay the $350 enrollment fees at all. And the exam fees from $940, it gets reduced to $300 only. So, considering the GST and all the taxes, your level 1 can be done at a cost of only 30,000 altogether. But let me tell you, this would be possible only if you are awarded the scholarship, which is very difficult. The retake fees. If you do not clear a particular exam, you will have to pay the exam fees again to retake that exam, and it would be $940 plus the applicable GST. Registration fees won't have to be paid again because registration fees paid at the time of level 1 registration is valid for life. Now let's talk about exemptions. Do you get any exemptions for the CFA exam? The answer is a straight no. Whether you are a chartered accountant or a company secretary or you possess any other qualification, you have to give the CFA exams right from the scratch. Now coming to the exam centers. Where are the exam centers? Exam centers, as you can see on the screen, in India, all the major metro cities have the exam centers. Now, if I have to tell you a fact, in the early 2000s, a candidate had to go to Dubai to appear for the exam because CFA was not so well known at that time, but because of increasing demand and scope for the CFA charter in the recent days, the CFA Institute has opened up centers in almost all the major metro cities. And what is the best part about it? For example, I am registering for an upcoming exam and I have selected Mumbai as my prime center. Now, for example, I get an opportunity from my company to go abroad and work there. So I have shifted to Australia. Now, my exams are nearing and I'll have to come back to Mumbai to write the exams. Is it so? No. CFA Institute gives you the option to change the exam center, and that is absolutely free of cost. So earlier I had registered for the Mumbai center. Now since due to company requirements I am based out of Australia, I can change my center from Mumbai to Australia at no additional cost. Other general details about the exam. A Texas Instruments calculator is compulsory for the exam, as you can see on the screen. No other calculator apart from Texas Instruments and HP calculator would be allowed for the CFA exam. Now many students have this question also that, sir, is GST avoidable by any means? No, the answer is GST is compulsory and that is not avoidable by any means. Neither you can get the credit of the GST paid. Who gets the credit of the GST paid? Suppose, for example, I have my GST number and I register for an upcoming CFA exam. So whatever GST I pay, I will be eligible to get the credit because the GST is registered on my name. This was it about the CFA exams. I hope you got all the details pertaining to the CFA exam and you are looking forward to pursue the CFA exam. Should you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the comment section. We would be more than happy to answer your questions. Alternatively, you can contact us on the given number to know more about the CFA course and our batches. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned for further updates.